Hello everyone, it is VEDA Day 14. Today, I'm going to talk about my trip to Salem. Yes, last October, LeakyCon was in Boston. And so, with some friends that I know from LeakyCon, we decided to extend our trip by 2 days and go visit Salem, Massachusetts. I have wanted to go to Salem for so long. I am not really a person who travels just to see a place. Like, I always sort of have a reason for traveling to a city. Normally it's a convention, sometimes it's family. And yes, while this was kind of piggybacking on a convention, Salem is like one of the places I wanted to go to just because of what it is. I do not have many places like that. Like, bucket list travel places are sort of hard for me because one, every place would be kind of cool to see. And two, I think hyperfocus goes into that a lot. I don't know where I've always wanted to go. I know where I want to go right now, but always wanted to go? I don't have a lot of those. But Salem is one of them. If you don't know, my birthday is on Halloween, so I have always really been into Halloween. My house is decorated 365 days a year. So of course, one of my favorite movies is Hocus Pocus, which I have been watching since it came out in 1994. Also, my mom's a teacher, so I read a lot of historical books when I was a kid. So I kind of knew about the witch trials from when I was like pretty young. Like, I want to say like maybe upwards of 9 or 10, maybe a little bit older, but a very long time. So in combination with being a history nerd and Halloween, Salem has always been one of those towns that I really wanted to go to. This was a dream come true trip for me. And the trip kind of broke down into 3 separate features. 1 was all the historical sites, 2 was the shopping, and 3, Hocus Pocus. To start off, may I just say, if you go to Salem, go in October. Like, this feels like a given, but like, seriously, go in October. During the weekend, they kind of have this festival thing, so it's really crowded, but we were there on a Sunday and a Monday, and on Monday, there was like nobody there. It was great. Also, of course, I had to theme my outfits. I went full spooky goth. Not that I don't always dress a little bit goth, but I went full spooky goth while in Salem. 2 really interesting places in Salem memorialize the people who died during the witch trials. There is one that is sort of on the edge of the town's original graveyard, as sort of a way of saying, you weren't allowed to be buried here, but we are going to make a space for you here. So they have these sort of little rock benches sticking out of the wall, and in each of them is carved the names of all the people who died, and people put flowers on them, and it's really beautiful. And also there, they carved the last words of the people who died into the ground. And it's really beautiful and really sad. And seeing their last words just hits home so hard about what was done to them and how horrible it was. There's also a place called Proctor's Ledge that I learned about via Ask a Mortician, Caitlin Doty's videos. Due to a lot of research, people found out that the hangings weren't actually done at like the top of Gallows Hill. They were done a little bit lower on the hill at a place called Proctor's Ledge. And so they also have a memorial to everyone who died at the place where these horrible things actually happened. We, of course, went to the Salem Witch Museum, which was so interesting because in the first part, which is about 20 minutes long, you sit in a room, listen to a narrator tell you about what happened during the Salem witch trials as lights light up sort of different life-size dioramas that show moments from the Salem witch trials. And it just goes over everything and tells you everything that happened, even a little bit of backstory, even a little bit of like kind of epilogue basically, aftermath. And then in the second part, a tour guide takes you around to a couple different scenes that sort of tell you what a pagan is, what the societal stereotype of witches are, and then what real witches are. It's so cool! I myself have several friends who are witches, and so it made me really happy to see that they're telling you this story about how people needlessly died, and then actually educating you about what society has turned witches into and what they actually are. Also, they go over what, like, basically a witch hunt is and have different examples on the wall. So, like, communism, like the Red Scare during the 50s was an example. Also, internment camps was another example on the wall. And so they say you can suggest examples to us and we might put them on the wall. So it's really cool that they'll give you these real life examples that are a little bit closer in our history, so it feels a little bit more relevant. And then, of course, you know, they have the gift shop. We did go on a haunted after dark tour, which was really fun. Our tour guide was really great and funny. Took us around to all these cool different spots in Salem, telling us some ghost stories and a little bit of history too. So highly recommend. There's so many tours. There's so many themed after dark tours. Some are haunted, some are historical. There is a hocus pocus tour, and you can buy tickets for these tours. Get those really far in advance. I wouldn't say it was hard to get tickets, but if you really want to go on a specific tour, buy them pretty far in advance, as far as you can. Another cool spot for the historical places in town is a house called the Witch House, and the person who lived in it had been one of the people who presided over the witch trials, and it's one of the only remaining structures from around the time of the Salem witch trials, because in, I believe, the early 1900s, like in the Industrial Revolution, a fire caught and burned down like almost all the buildings from that time period, and so it's one of the only structures still remaining from during the Salem witch trials, and so we had to, you know, take pictures in front of it. And I coined a term, or I don't know if I coined a term, but I decided to start calling it the spooky pose, which is basically kind of like Morticia Addams, but also a little bit Winifred Sanderson, and it's just the spooky pose. And so in a lot of the pictures you'll see from Salem, I'm doing the spooky pose. There's also this really cool Bewitched statue. I did watch a lot of TV Land when I was a kid, so I really enjoyed the Samantha statue. We happened to walk by the Salem Public Library, and as you can imagine, a bunch of nerds who had just gone to LeakyCon wanted to go in the Salem Public Library, which was really cool, really cute, really neat old building. Also, they were having a book sale, so they were selling a lot of their former library books for like 25 cents a pop. So we each bought a book or two. I bought this one, Mara Wilson, Where Are They Now? Or Where Am I Now? Where am I? But it's kind of a cool little souvenir because it says Salem Public Library on the sides there. And also I really like Mara Wilson. She's bomb. Alright, let's go into stuff about the shopping. There are so many cool shops there, and it kind of ranges all over the place. There's like actual stores where witches can go and get supplies and things like that. There's a Harry Potter themed store, of course. But again, we just spent the entire weekend at LeakyCon, and so we were like, we bought a bunch of Harry Potter stuff. We're good. There's some cool antique stores. There's a lot of cool oddity stores where I bought this. I really love this necklace. That is a mouse jaw. Jawbone of a mouse inside a necklace. So I really like wearing this necklace around because it's really pretty, and far away, you can't tell what that is. It could just be a cool design. It might be a feather or a petal. Who knows? So I like wearing this around where people might not expect that this is some weird shit, and then putting them in the presence of some weird shit. There's, of course, tourist stores where I got this. It was getting cold. And as you can see from my gothy outfits, I did not prepare for that. But also, I was planning on buying something like this anyway. And as you can probably tell from a lot of my videos, I wear this a lot I have multiple black hoodies, and I just kind of rotate between them. It's this one's turn. Also, Salem loves its Sanderson sisters. There's so much Sanderson sister merch. It's great. We walk into a store and I went, oh my god, because I saw this. They had ones for each of the sisters, but Winnie's my fave. So because I had that reaction to it, I was like, well, I have to buy it. There's so many different stores. Also, Salem is super feminist. There's tons of like stuff with like feminist sayings on it and whatnot. Also, Salem is super gay. There were rainbow flags everywhere. There are rainbow benches. Oh, also, there's a bunch of really cool goth clothing stores. So I took this picture in one of those stores because they had a really cool setup, and I wanted to buy stuff in there so bad, but it was kind of expensive, and so I didn't. So it was just so cool and interesting. All these different stores, like maybe some of them kind of selling similar stuff, but they all had something a little bit different, which made each one fascinating to walk through. So that's what we did a lot of time. We sort of walked around town and went into a bunch of different shops and just looked at all the cool stuff they had. Some of the stuff, like especially in the witch supply stores, they had like pendulum boards where it has like yes, no, maybe, and then you kind of like swing a pendulum over it. And then they also had Ouija boards, which I'm not a fan of Ouija. I think bad things can happen from Ouija. These pendulum boards and the Ouija boards were all like hand painted and they were beautiful. I just had so much fun staring at all of them. It was so cool. Like, I just want all the money in the world so I can go back there and buy a bunch of stuff for me and buy a bunch of stuff for my friends, because I saw so much stuff that I was like, oh my god, this person will love this person will love this, and I can't afford to buy all of my friends a bunch of presents, unfortunately. Oh, also in that cool oddity store, they had this little bat I was willing to spend a lot of money on. I didn't feel like it would hold together if I put it in my suitcase to take it back home. God, I wanted that bat. I wanted it. One day, I will buy myself a little taxidermied bat, and I will be so happy. This video is kind of long, but last but not least, we have the Hocus Pocus tour. We didn't take the actual Hocus Pocus tour that takes you to all the places that Hocus Pocus was filmed, but we went on our own Hocus Pocus tour. There's the town hall that you'll see in a couple shots. It's the place where the party was happening. The party in the movie is in this giant room that was filmed in LA. All the outside shots are at the Salem town hall, which you'll notice is not big enough for that giant room. So in the movie, they never show the full town hall. They just show like the doors and the steps there. So took a couple pictures there. We also went to Allison's house. Oh, Allison, I'm Allison, kiss me, I'm Allison. I definitely recreated the scene where Danny falls down crying in front of the house because her big brother is just so mean. But it's a really cool place, and right next door to it, kind of in the backyard, is like this beautiful garden that you can go and walk through. And it's just a really beautiful, cool old colonial house to go look at. We also literally took an Uber to go see Max's house. I love this house so goddamn much. I have wanted a bedroom where I can walk up some stairs into a little, like, cool tower in your house. And I wanted my bedroom to have one of those since I was a very tiny child when I watched this movie. 6 or 7 when I saw this movie. Going to see that house, I cried a little bit. But it's so cool. It's great. Very, very close to where Max's house is that Pioneer Village that I talk about in my ghost video that they filmed the first couple scenes with Thackeray Binks. And again, unfortunately, it was closed, so we could not go in, but I did maybe see a ghost. Ooh. If you haven't watched that video, here's the video. Sorry if this looks weird. My camera decided to stop filming. But that was pretty much my entire trip to Salem, and it was wonderful and amazing, and I want to go back right now. It was just Such a good trip, and I think one of my favorite moments on the trip is when we walked to the top of Gallows Hill and we saw the water tower. Salem just has this cool water tower with a witch on it, and the sun was setting right behind it, and it was wonderful and beautiful. That is a moment that I will always remember from this trip. It was just the perfect visual image for my experience in Salem. If you want to tell me about your favorite trip or a place that's on your bucket list, go ahead and put that in the comments. If you want to talk about Salem, let's please talk about Salem. Let's talk more about Salem. I want to talk about Salem all the time. Thanks to my friends who let me put the pictures that we took in this video. Other than that, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have a really good day. Goodbye. I love my spooky pose.